Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich.
Now, that's just part of a TikTok that Donald Trump shared on his Truth Social account today. Now, while the economy is in a tailspin, people are worried about tariffs, Trump has shown that he has other priorities. But before we get into that, Cenk, do you think there's any truth to the video, that this is a big money-making opportunity?
Well, actually half and half. So the Warren Buffett part is hilariously false. So we'll get to what Warren Buffett actually thinks in a second. But is it a money-making opportunity for some rich folks? It is. So we'll tell you the mixed bag right now. And by the way, did he actually crash it on purpose? And is that a good thing? And it's a good thing because super rich people can make more money now? Is that the win you think it is? Well, let's find out.
Yeah, so what is Trump focused on right now? Well, Trump jetted down to Florida yesterday in advance of the Saudi-backed Live Golf Tournament at Trump's Doral Club. So while the global economy is in a tailspin thanks to his disastrous tariffs, he'll be brushing elbows with Saudi leaders and golfers who took Saudi blood money to leave the PGA Tour. This, from Wednesday, has some details on his schedule. The president is scheduled to jet to Miami on Thursday afternoon to attend a Live Golf Tournament at his golf course in nearby Doral. He is scheduled to hang there for 2.5 hours before attending a Live dinner, his schedule says. Trump's dinner is slated to begin at 7:30 p.m. and he's expected to stay for an hour and a half. Afterwards, he will fly to Palm Beach by helicopter and stay the night at Mar-a-Lago. In addition, Trump will also be skipping the dignified transfer of 4 troops who lost their lives in a training exercise in Lithuania. Jennifer Griffin of Fox reports President Trump will remain in Florida and will not travel to Dover Air Force Base for the dignified transfer of 4 American soldiers who died during a training exercise in Lithuania. The Live Golf Tournament begins today. Trump just arrived at his golf club. Defense Secretary Hegseth will travel to Dover mid-morning to participate in the dignified transfer of 4 US soldiers. But the Live Golf Tournament underscores a renewed criticism of Trump's preference for leisure. As of Wednesday, Trump had already spent 25% of his time back in office golfing. President Donald Trump has reportedly spent 18 of his first 69 days back in office on one of his golf courses. That means he's apparently been working on his swing for roughly 1/4 of his second term. According to an analysis by Huffington Post, which based its findings on a 2019 Government Accountability Office report, the cost of these outings has cost US taxpayers about $26 million. Cenk, in a time of cuts across the board, we are spending a lot of money on Trump's golfing habit. What do you think?
Okay, so I want to break it down one by one. First of all, Warren Buffett, just because it amuses me. It said there that Warren Buffett thought this was the best economic move he's seen in the last 50 years. Now here's the reality. Quoting Mediaite here, quick search shows, however, that Warren Buffett made no such comment in recent weeks regarding Trump. On the contrary, Buffett, who rarely offers political commentary, told CBS News in early March, so about a month ago, that Trump's tariffs are, quote, an act of war to some degree, and he's been hoarding cash in recent months, anticipating a market sell-off.
You can't just lie on TikTok, no.
But what's amazing is like Trump, of course, as always, doesn't double check anything. And then it's like, looks good, retweet, right? Okay, so, I mean, come on, that's funny. Warren Buffett's like, this guy's a moron. He's gonna crash the markets. I'm pulling out, getting all cash so that I'll go buy in at the bottom and I'll make billions more. And then remember that that's actually one of the points of the video. So that goes to point 2. They're like, no, this is a genius move because then the super rich will be able to come in after all of your 401ks are destroyed and come in and buy really cheap and make even more money. And that helps me how? How does that help the average American? How does that help the American economy? How is that that's not a brag, that's a self-own, right? Like, okay, all right, thank you for the confession. And then finally, did he do it on purpose? So he's bragging that he crashed the US economy on purpose. So those super rich people like Warren Buffett could make even more. Okay, which part of this is populist? Which part of this is like helps the average guy? Which part of this makes America great again? This is just total lunacy. Okay, and meanwhile, like, well, as Rome is burning, Nero has decided to fiddle with his golf club. So, okay, 25% of his time. Obama golfed way too much, right? And I criticized Obama back then. I'm like, brother, let's go. But at least he worked hard when he was at the White House. This guy, you can't get him off the goddamn golf course. You're the president of the United States. And you just nuked the rest of the world with these tariffs that were out of control large, right? Totally unexpectedly high because you're a maniac. And you're like, oh, sounds good. But the Saudis, they did this cool thing where they bought up all of this golf stuff, and then they're making people play at my courses so I can make more money. I love the Saudis. So, oh, your savings are destroyed? Who cares? You didn't give me any money. The Saudis gave me money, so I'm going golfing with them. Wow, America feels so great now. All right, Was.
The thing that annoys me about that clip is just the phrase "crash the economy." We got to actually say what that means. We're talking about millions of people out of work, and countless others more whose retirement, like actual people, normal people who have worked their whole lives, got this 401k as their nest egg, being completely cooked by this dude's whim. And the idea that he crashed this, meaning put millions of people out of work. If this thing continues at pace, that's what's actually gonna happen. And has said nothing by way of what are we gonna do for or with these people? Nothing, nada, zip, zilch, no vision on that. Just this idea that somebody is gonna somehow get rich by being, and it can't be these people who have been put out of work. So who are these people that are going to be made rich by this? That's the thing that annoys me. It's like this one, throwaway line like, oh, he's gonna crash the economy. Like this thing actually means something for people's lives. Like this is not a joke. Like a bunch of people being put out of work, which means they can't pay their rent, which means they're not, participating in all other segments of the economy, which then has its own knock-on effects. Like, this is people's actual livelihoods we're talking about. And a stupid TikToker, and Trump could just frivolously throw it on TikTok like, yeah, I'm inflicting all of this unnecessary pain and suffering on people. It's insanity, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out, Was, because when you think about the comments that Trump and Musk have made about things like Doge cuts, oh, well, there's gonna be some pain. Like what you just laid out is very real economic hardship. And I'm reminded of just a couple months ago when we were told that high egg prices were a national crisis. It was something that they had to address, and Trump was the only person who could bring these egg prices down. Prices are going to go up across the board on just about every consumer good because corporate politicians and the political elite have hollowed out the manufacturing sector here and shipped it elsewhere. What do they think the reality is going to look like in a month, 2 months, 3 months, especially when there's retaliatory tariffs? You're gonna drive the cost of goods up. People aren't going to be able to afford things. Sure, that'll have an economic effect. You'll see the stock price, you'll see the stock market affected by it. But the real world scenario for everyday people is going to be that they can't afford things after they already were struggling. They can't afford things that they previously could. They're going to have to skip meals. We've seen that in economic downturns before. Skip meals, an inability to pay bills, going into default. That's the reality of this scenario where there's going to be some pain, as Elon Musk and Trump put it. But they don't care because they don't feel it. It doesn't affect them. Trump tonight is at Mar-a-Lago hosting a $1 million per person dinner. Did any of you get invites? I didn't get an invite. Did you get an invite, Cenk? Like, they do not care about you. How many times do the MAGA base need to see things that he does and things that he says to fully understand that he is not a populist, he does not care about you, and in moments like this, he's heading out to a golf course, or like Cenk put it, he's going to personally profit from the event being hosted at his resort. It is so brazen and so disgusting. When will people finally understand?
Yeah, one last thing is, so a part of this theory about, he crashed it on purpose is, and they're bragging about this, it's all over social media. They're saying, well, that's good because that's gonna lead to higher unemployment, which then will lead the Fed to lower interest rates, which then will mean that the interest that we're paying on the debt will be lower, so we'll save hundreds of billions of dollars, which then means we could do a $5.5 trillion tax cut. Wait, what? Okay, so break that down super quick. Higher unemployment is great. No, it's not. That means real Americans get fired and they don't have a job and they can't feed their kids. What part of that is great, you monsters? And if there was any unemployment or any inflation under Biden, it was like, national emergency, which on inflation it was, right? So we agree that makes sense. Then you turn around and now you're like, stagflation, inflation, and unemployment. Yay, the rich will get richer. How is that yay? All right, so the second thing, Fed will lower interest rates. Today they came out and said, we're not lowering interest rates. This stupid trick isn't gonna work, okay? All right, there goes that plan. And if we did have smaller interest on the debt and we did save a couple $100 billion, let's go crazy and say that saves $200 billion. I'm pretty sure 5.5 trillion is significantly higher than 200 billion, right? You still have 5.3 trillion left. But we're supposed to be super excited about that $5.5 trillion tax cut because it's going to the super rich. Okay, so literally everything about this has been designed to make the super rich richer. And this is populism? No, this is the same old establishment, uniparty, elitist crap serving the donor class and only the donor class. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.